I've done most of my work on the Gimme 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 Anomalies using the gold CD. However, I'm very grateful to Moats Piano 2 who sent me the version of Gimme 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 that's on Greatest Hits Volume 2. Greatest Hits Volume 2 contains some of the better mixes of ABBA songs to appear on CDs. Also, Patrick sent me a Chiquitita from there, so thanks to him as well. Really, most of the anomalies that I've heard are in oops, although one or two of them, they seem to have a different effect when played in stereo, but I'll point those out to you as we go along. There seems to be some clipping going on in the introduction, in the piano and guitar bit. I don't really know why. I had to check when I was listening that I wasn't listening to my Mac on full volume. That I wasn't. But it seems that both the Greatest Hits Volume 2 and the gold versions suffer from a certain amount of buzzy clipping in the introduction. Also, at 17 seconds, there's a click just as the flute comes in. That could be an edit, but it might also be the flautist's fingers on the buttons just as he's about to start playing. At both of these points, there's an edit point, and the bass quality changes. In fact, it all goes very trebly here. If that doesn't sound like too much of a contradiction, there's quite an abrupt entry of a tambourine, and the sort of more percussive side of the drum kit, the cymbals, etc., are a lot brighter. Again, at both of these points, they're similar points in the song. They're just before There's Not a Soul Out There. There's a guitar that goes down, and very obviously out of phase. You can hear an edit in the rest of the backing track that's being covered up by this guitar. You can just about make it out on headphones as well. It's like a sort of slight stutter in the backing mix. I'm getting the feeling that this song must have been quite a rushed recording, because normally where there are edit points at similar points in the song, they do different things to try and disguise them. But this, again, this is the third example of where the same edit comes in twice, and it's just as the chorus is about to start. You can hear it very clearly out of phase. At 125, there is an edit point where the backing has been spliced onto the end of the first chorus. It's just about covered by the flute arpeggio, which lands on quite a long note, which is a D, I believe. Very faintly, there's a sound like a radio being tuned in just before Movie Stars. At 2:32, there is a very, very prominent stuttery edit out of phase, and it's just before the repetition of the chorus. At 2:49 on headphones, there's a plink just as the bass solo comes in. At 3:41 out of phase, there's an edit to There's Not a Soul. Out of phase here, there's a rather obvious bum note being played on one of the synthesizers. It's playing sort of long held backing chords, and it does sound like a finger slipped here. It's just about audible on headphones, but more audible on headphones at this point is a clonky sound. Another edit to the chorus here. And finally, at 4:23, there's another extra loud snare out of phase as the instrumental solo begins, probably covering an edit point. A decent hi-fi system ought to be able to reveal some of the intricacies that are going on in the bass. There's a bass sequencer playing, that's panned left and right in stereo, and there's a bass guitar which is quite a snappy sound. And the sequencer plays along with the bass in the instrumental passages and in the verses, but not in the chorus. And out of phase, in the chorus, the bass does tend to drop out, and that's because the bass guitar is panned center, so it'll disappear from the out of phase mix. Whereas the sequencer is panned left and right, so you'll hear some of that in the out of phase version. Well, when you connect your speakers out of phase, I should say. In the verse, there's quite a sort of syncopated interplay between the bass guitar and the sequencer, and if you really focus on it, it will actually drive you nuts because the rhythm is really peculiar at that point. I hope you've enjoyed that. I've also recently put up a video of me playing a Tears for Fears song called I Believe. Now, in the ABBA Anomalies videos, I go on something chronic about edits and dropouts and God knows what, and I've put in the worst edit ever in that song. There's a dropout as I'm turning a page in the music, and I deliberately cut out the page turn because it was quite intrusive. So sorry about that, but I hope you enjoy that as well as these Anomalies videos.